When Interstellar was released in 2014, it caused quite a controversy. Is a black hole really like this? No one knew at the time, but after focusing on the blurring of the black hole, you will find that it is very similar to the first time humans discovered the photo of a black hole. It seems that black holes really look like this. Director Nolan, in order to restore the most real black hole in the film, specifically found the astrophysicist Kip Thorne. The wormhole and black hole in the film are constructed according to the formula of physicists. This is also the first time the wormhole and black hole are presented in a movie. Although this is a science fiction movie, many shocking scenes have made countless viewers cry. And this is also a movie that you must not miss. In the future world, the old man recalls his past. The earth is full of sandstorms. Humans can only use a cloth to cover their mouths and noses to avoid absorbing a lot of dust. It takes a lot of time to clean the dust every day. The tableware in the house can only be put upside down. The only food they have is corn. As the climate gradually deteriorates, the cornfields in the neighborhood begin to wither. This day the sandstorm was very serious. The daughter suddenly remembered that her bedroom window was not closed. After her father closed the window for her, she found a strange scene in the house. The sandstorm is like a law. It slowly falls from the sky to the floor, forming patterns like Morse code. After Cooper's careful research, he found that these patterns were not Morse code, but binary. After the sandstorm, he found that these patterns were marked by a coordinate system. Under the drive of curiosity, Cooper decided to go to the coordinate system alone to find out, but his daughter was quietly hiding in the passenger seat. He had no choice but to take his daughter with him. When he arrived at the coordinate location, it was already dark. When he looked up, he was stunned. When he woke up, he was controlled by a robot. It told him how he got here. Cooper was thinking about how to turn this smart robot into a vacuum cleaner. A woman named Dr. Brand came to him and took him to another room. Here he saw an old acquaintance and the old leader of the space agency, Professor Brand. In this time of hunger, in order not to make the public angry, he secretly built this underground airbase. Due to the spread of the plague, wheat and okra have been dying out. Now the remaining corn is also slowly dying out. In order to change all this, they have to find a place where they can survive. That is, to explore the universe. Scientists miraculously detected a wormhole in the universe. It appeared near Saturn 48 years ago. On the other side of the wormhole is another star system. It can be shown that this wormhole is not naturally formed, but someone deliberately put it there. Although they didn't know who created it, it helped humans travel to another star system and find a planet to live on. 10 years ago, the space agency sent 12 astronauts through the wormhole. Only 3 astronauts sent back signals. Their current task is to go to those astronauts who sent signals and check the planet. Professor Brand has devised 2 plans. Plan A is to find the signal planet and make sure it can support life, and then bring humans there. Plan B is to let Cooper and a few other astronauts go to the planet and establish a new human colony. Cooper was once a very good astronaut. The professor invited Cooper to join their team to explore the unknown space of the universe together. Cooper didn't know how long the Earth could survive, so he agreed to the professor's advice. The daughter who lost her mother since childhood didn't want her father to leave, so she locked herself in the bedroom and didn't say goodbye. Cooper came to his daughter's side to comfort her, but his daughter told her father that the message left by the ghost on the decoding bookshelf was only 2 words: stay. As an astronaut, he knew his duty. He gave his daughter a watch and told her that because time moves slowly in space, when his daughter is as old as him, he would return. This is a lie that a father tells kindly to his daughter. The daughter knew her father was lying, so she threw the watch on the ground angrily. The moment he opened the door, the books on the shelf fell again, as if telling him not to leave. Stay, stay. In the garage, Cooper was hoping his daughter would secretly hide in the passenger seat to see him off, but she didn't. There was only a toolbox there. He knew that his departure might be forever. After the spaceship docked successfully, he launched the 2-year journey towards Saturn. Saturn is one of the 8 major planets. Every 378 days, there will be a Saturn opposition phenomenon. When the Earth and the Sun line up in a straight line, astronomy calls this Saturn Opposition Day. As far as I know, the Saturn ring will disappear from sight in 2025. If you want to view the Saturn ring, you have to seize the opportunity. After more than 2 years of travel, they came to the wormhole near Saturn. The one in front of them is a real wormhole. Not like the one in pictures, but a sphere with a black curve like a bubble. Romley explained to Cooper that the wormhole is like folding 2 star systems together to create a shortcut. As long as you go through it, you can reach another star system instantly. Replace the 3-dimensional space with 2-dimensional space, and the wormhole becomes a circle in the 2-dimensional space. In three-dimensional space, it is a sphere-shaped hole. Their spaceship slowly approached the wormhole. After entering the wormhole, countless stars passed by in front of them. The spaceship started to shake violently. They were passing through the black hole's expansion zone. All electronic devices malfunctioned. They had already gone beyond three-dimensional space. At this time, Brand saw a hand inside the spaceship and approached it with wide eyes. This may be the effect of space distortion. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at another strange star system. After passing through the wormhole, what came into view was a beautiful and mysterious black hole. Under its huge gravity, even light can't escape. Therefore, a beautiful accretion disk formed around it. This is the first time the astronauts saw a black hole. Under its glowing light, a massive gravitational force was generated. Even light could not escape. Thus, a glowing disk surrounded it. The astronauts' primary task was to go to the planet sending a signal. Because the planet was too close to the black hole, time would flow extremely slowly. When they arrived at the planet's surface, they saw endless seawater. On this planet, covered entirely by water, the gravity was twice that of Earth. This made their movement unstable. Luckily, the intelligent robot found the wrecked ship in time. It seemed the astronaut who sent the signal had already met disaster. Brand wanted to climb over the hill ahead to look for more wreckage. But the hill was getting taller and closer. It wasn't a hill, but a massive wave thousands of meters high. By the time they returned to the spaceship, the giant wave had already arrived. An astronaut was instantly swept away. The wave lifted the spaceship into the air. The spaceship was tossed by the wave and landed hard. Though they avoided destruction, the engine had taken in a lot of seawater. Soon another massive wave came. Luckily, Cooper, with his experience, used the pressure valve just in time to flush the water from the engine. It started successfully, and they left the planet before the wave hit again. After they returned to the main ship, Romley had already lost all his hair. He had waited in orbit for 23 years, 4 months and 8 days. Although Cooper and the others were only delayed a few hours, the black hole's gravity made that equal to decades on Earth. Cooper watched all the messages from Earth over the past 23 years. His son had grown from a boy to a father. When his old self smiled at him on screen, Cooper's eyes filled with tears. His daughter's video message blamed him. Her father had once told her he would return when she reached his age. Today was her birthday. Seeing this, Cooper couldn't hold back his tears. His daughter had joined the space agency and worked on gravity research with Professor Brand. She wanted to save humanity and lead them away from Earth. But Murphy didn't know the professor had long since abandoned the anti-gravity formula. This formula still required a key data point, one that could only be obtained inside the black hole. But no one could survive entering a black hole. This was the last obstacle. Not long after, the old professor lay dying in bed. Before he died, he confessed to Murphy the real plan behind the mission. The black hole data couldn't be completed. At first, he hadn't told Cooper the truth. He just told him to explore space. The professor's real goal was to let them survive on another planet using Plan B. Murphy, devastated by the truth, felt betrayed. She had believed her father would return, but it was all a lie. She sent a message to Cooper. By that time, Cooper had already set out for the next signal planet. This planet was surrounded by white clouds in the sky. When the spaceship crossed the cloud layer, it cracked the cloud layer open. The temperature on the planet was near absolute zero. Not only was the ground covered in ice, but even the clouds were frozen. Could such a planet support life? They found a habitat module sending the signal. When they opened it, the survivor inside rushed forward to hug Cooper. He hadn't seen humans in over 10 years. It was hard to imagine what he had endured on this frozen planet. This planet had 67 hours of daylight. At night, temperatures dropped to near absolute zero. The water was highly alkaline. The air had too much carbon dioxide for humans to breathe. But under the surface, carbon dioxide was absorbed and converted into crystalline nitrates. This made it possible for people to breathe and survive. Cooper decided to investigate the lower layer with Dr. Mann. However, as soon as they arrived at the cliff, Dr. Mann took advantage of Cooper's distraction. He pulled off Cooper's communication device and threw it into the cliff. Cooper, caught off guard, was pushed down the slope by Dr. Mann. Fortunately, he grabbed the cliff wall in time. Dr. Mann didn't give up and tried to kill Cooper. He kept kicking Cooper while apologizing. At the critical moment, Cooper knocked Mann back with a flare gun. The two of them tumbled down the cliff. If I just press that button, somebody will save me. It turned out Dr. Mann had lied. There were no crystalline nitrates here. He just didn't want to die alone on this planet. He wanted to go back to Earth and see his family. That's why he sent a fake signal. At this moment, Mann had lost his sanity. He struck Cooper's helmet with his own helmet. He knew they might both die from exhaustion. But to keep living, He gambled everything. Eventually, Cooper's helmet was cracked. Air started leaking into his suit. Man ignored Cooper's pain and headed for the ship. Luckily, Cooper found a backup comms device and called Brand. After Brand heard the call, she piloted the ship to save him. Just before Cooper's oxygen ran out, she arrived. When they returned to base, they found it had been destroyed by Dr. Mann. Romilly had died in the explosion. Mann had taken the other ship and gone to the docking station. Cooper could only chase after him in another ship, but he was a step too late. Mann had already started manual docking procedures. Since he lacked docking clearance, he tried to force it. Ignoring all warnings, he continued docking. Before he finished, he opened the airlock. Due to sudden pressure, Mann was sucked out into space. The ship collided with the station and exploded. The force of the explosion spun the station rapidly toward the black hole. Cooper began calculating the station's spin. He flew downward to match its rotation. Using his piloting experience, he synchronized their spin speed. The massive gravity and rotation caused intense pain. Brand passed out from the extreme spinning. Fortunately, Cooper completed the docking just in time. The ship used reverse thrust and finally slowed down. But they couldn't celebrate. The explosion had pushed the station closer to the black hole. Most of the fuel had leaked in the blast. They lacked enough fuel to escape the black hole's pull. Gazing at the beautiful and deadly black hole, Cooper had an idea. He would use its gravity to slingshot the ship. This would send Brand toward Edmund's planet. Cooper and the robot TARS piloted the two landers to position. One lander system had been damaged in the blast. They had to fly it manually. They entered the accretion disk of the black hole. Compared to the black hole, their ship was a speck of dust. They orbited along the edge of the disk. Every minute here equaled years on Earth. Cooper started the lander's engines as he approached the exit. As the first lander ran out of fuel, TARS detached it into the black hole. When the second lander was nearly dry, Cooper prepared to detach. Brand then realized Cooper had lied to her. He had used Newton's third law. He sacrificed the lander to give her escape velocity. Cooper chose to fall into the black hole. He couldn't let them all die. As he fell, beams of light streamed past him. Time warped and the lander cracked apart. At that moment, he transformed into a ball of energy. He fell into what looked like a massive elevator shaft. In panic, he grabbed onto its outer frame and stopped. He had entered a space of layered strings. On the other side of the strings was a familiar sight. He pounded one of the strings hard. A book fell from a shelf in his daughter's room. But she couldn't see him. Cooper screamed, but she couldn't hear. She turned and walked away. This was a 5-dimensional space. Time and space here were symmetrical. Cooper's greatest concern had always been his daughter. And this structure was her timeline. Suddenly, Cooper understood. He used Morse code to knock books off the shelf. Clever Murphy decoded the message. He moved to another part of her timeline. Murphy showed the code to Professor Brand. The empty gaps on the shelf were the code. It said only 2 words. Stay. But Cooper had chosen to leave. He collapsed, pounding the strings. The falling books couldn't stop him. Suddenly, he heard TARS on the radio. Though both were in 5-dimensional space, they were separated. TARS had collected vital quantum data. This 3D projection was created in 5D space. Time had a physical form here. TARS could traverse it freely, but they still couldn't transmit the data. Cooper realized history can't be changed, only fulfilled. He could send the data to Murphy using gravity. On the day of the sandstorm, he used TARS to form coordinates in the dust. The ghost in Murphy's room was himself. He had guided himself here to save her. They didn't choose him, they chose Murphy. So the space revealed her timeline. Cooper found the watch he gave his daughter. He decided to transmit the data with Morse code. TARS blinked irregularly, like a code. Murphy understood. The ghost was her father. Her father never abandoned her. She translated the blinking into Morse code. She recalculated the gravity formula. This time she succeeded. Murphy solved gravity and unlocked anti-gravity, and the 5-dimensional space began fading. Cooper returned to normal space near the wormhole. He saw Brandon himself in the ship. He reached toward her. This was what they saw when first entering the wormhole. Cooper lost consciousness due to lack of oxygen. The ship approached his floating body. When Cooper woke up, he was in a hospital bed. At this time, Cooper was still alive in the universe. He was now 124 years old. Outside the window was a huge space station. This was the same one his daughter had seen in the sky after decoding gravity. Thanks to his name and sacrifice, humanity had solved the gravity problem and survived. When Cooper saw his daughter again, she was already elderly. She was lying in a hospital bed, gray-haired and fragile. When she saw her father, she smiled peacefully. She didn't want her father to see her die. She said goodbye and told him to go, to find Brand, who was far away in another galaxy. On the other side, Brand was alone on a distant planet. She continued her father's plan B. On that planet, humanity would continue to thrive. That mysterious wormhole was what led humans there. Thank you for watching. For more powerful stories and deep movie dives, subscribe to Trending Now. See you in the next adventure.